When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode. What have you hear out there since COVID? What's going on with the industry since we got out of COVID? Is it ramping back up? The need's there, but people are watching what they spend, kind of thing.
You know, I think we've largely recovered from that. Now, it in a lot of ways changed the industry. One of the things that we dealt with in the security officer realm was at a time when everybody was yelling, stay home, we were having more security officers being asked to go out there to handle security responsibility. So, certainly budgets got tight. I think one of the things that is a positive for technology is people were able to see during that technology is not just something nice to have if you can't have personnel. People saw, hey, this is a real solution. So it wasn't necessarily replacing people, but it was that force multiplier because you didn't have people that were available to go. So I think the biggest change is people are seeing that, like you and I were talking before we jumped on, just look at Zoom. I always joke, I wish I could go back and buy stock in Zoom and Microsoft Teams, but it's changed. Yeah. And so the same things happen in security where, okay, you did all these things during COVID. Why can't we keep doing them? That they were much more efficient. They were so there's been some positives to come out of it. Sure.
I can definitely see that. I know we have more new emerging risk. We have new industries that are popping up. I mean, AI is now that's probably eats up most of the conversations on news channels and crypto as well. What are the new industry threats new threats that are coming out that you're hearing from your colleagues that we're not seeing yet really show its head?
Yeah, and not necessarily new, but the way it's being delivered, I think, is new. And that's really the overall cyber risk that everybody's facing. And you mentioned AI. That's changing the game when it comes to cyber risk. And, we throw around the buzzword convergence a lot. How do we bring physical and digital together? And I heard something at the European ASIS conference and I jotted it down and I said, I'm going to remember that when I talk about cyber. The speaker said, in his organization, they have a mandate. They don't use the phrase cybersecurity. They only talk about cyber resilience because it's going to happen. Hopefully you have all the tools to prevent it. I'm not suggesting that you don't have that. Obviously you should. But when it does happen, how resilient are you? So going back to our earlier conversation, people in my industry are also being asked to come to the table and in two ways. How can you help us? But also, how can you not be a threat? You're on our premises. You're playing in our network. You're wanting to put cameras on my system. I'm giving email domains to your officers. What are you doing to make sure that you're not a threat to my environment? So I think that's what's going to, everybody that's probably listening to this, if you haven't, you're very lucky. We've all gotten the phishing emails. We've all gotten those kind of things.
Sure.
Those used to be laughable. You remember we'd get them and go, this is so obvious now
we can't
with
tell.
AI and voice replication and video replication. Now we just can't stand by and say, don't click on anything that looks suspicious. What's suspicious anymore? So that's probably the biggest threat out there that's worrying everybody.
Now I gotta ask you this: Are you a practicing attorney now, or did you go to law school?
I did. I am still licensed to practice. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I serve. Well, Mark, I always tell people not to mention I'm an attorney because people will start to turn off the podcast and hey, I'm not listening to this guy. But I do still have a license to practice. I've never really practiced in the private capacity. The work that I did was being general counsel for my company, and I have done expert witness, done some consulting and stuff in the legal realm. But I've had other experiences in law, but mine's been centered around the private security industry. And as you know all too well, this is a very challenging and unique environment for legal liability.
Yeah, that's a great, powerful point because we're in the business to protect clients of risk and liability.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we, as company owners, we see opportunity, and sometimes we try to. I've heard of stories of working for other people, and they would just they call it justify the invoice and create things that weren't exactly true.
Yeah.
Or factual, just to create opportunity for some business. And, I spent most of my career in Southern California. I moved down there after the market crash in 2000. And I just saw like, whoa, people are desperate to get some revenue. And I'm like, I would never do that. But
yeah,
it's just like you said, attorneys are there to reduce liability and risk for their organizations.
Yeah, and just like CSOs have gotten, more of a seat at the table over the years, the legal, some people say it's just a necessary evil. We wish we didn't have to deal with this, but nonetheless, it is necessary to look at the liability. Anything we do is a risk. We all know that. The nature of this business is inherently risky, but having that risk management, that risk mitigation, and that even goes into security planning as well. And, I don't do that day in and day out, but there's been oftentimes where I will put my attorney hat on and go, whoa, this is, let's back up a little bit. And not that we're not going to execute the same mission, but the way we do it may need to be a little bit different. We may need to take certain things into account, because when the what hits the fan, the legal system wants to hold somebody accountable, and it's like somebody's fault. So then it gets to be really, really not very fun at that point.
Well, here's an off the hook kind of question. Let's say, explain to the audience, especially the younger generation starting their own businesses, and let's say this is just a scenario, folks. So this is more of a training exercise with Eddie, because he is an attorney, so he can probably explain this better than anybody that I have on the podcast. Let's say we have company XYZ in Oregon, for example, and they have a guard who's armed, have a robbery at, let's call it 7-Eleven. The guy shoots somebody, injures them, and puts them in the hospital. What would that case look like after the fact for liability purposes for that company and that guard? And how far will the lawsuits go through the channels?
Yeah. And, first of all, standard disclaimer, this isn't legal advice, et cetera, et cetera. And everything is situational. It's like when I've done expert witness and I'll get a call from it. I haven't done a lot of it. That's time consuming. So I pick and choose what I do. But, when an attorney will call me and say, this happened, here's the facts. And I always go, well, send me the training manual, send me the personnel file, send me the video. So the way that could certainly work is, first of all, there are potentially multiple parties involved there. If the store hired the security officer's company, well, you've got two potential defendants, the store and the actual company. Throw in a third. If the officer shoots the suspect, the officer may be named personally. So what's going to happen in that regard? And again, I've seen some last literally 10 years. I've seen some last 6 months. But what could happen would be, the most likely is hate to say basic because they're all different, but just a basic premises liability that, in a weird situation, even though the person is robbing the store, and again, we could change the facts. If it's a patron of the store, you got much more problems. But most people look at that and say, well, this is clear cut. This guy's a robber. Who in his right mind wouldn't shoot him? Well, was he posing a threat to the security officer? Was he posing a threat to the general public? And this does not in itself means there's liability. And this is what I've done on the defense side mostly.
Sure.
But things like, let's say you get his training records and God forbid, hey, he's never been to the range. In fact, the company didn't take the steps to even verify that he knows how to handle a weapon. So there's all kind of things where, the old joke as a classic attorney answer is it depends. And it does depend. And again, some of the cases I've had before where I'll hear like the facts you just described, and I'll think, oh, that sounds pretty cut and dry. Kudos to the officer. He got the bad guy. And then I look at the video and I go, ooh, he shot him in the back.
Bad luck.
And then I get the file and I go, oh, you didn't do a background check. The security officer had some issues. And then, show me how he was proficient in the weapon, give me his use of force training. And they go, we were going to do that next month. He was signed up for a class next month. And I'm going, wow. Yeah, your case that we thought was a slam dunk just got a little bit more complicated.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Over training, employee handbook, employee training, lack of training by the company. And so we have probably a civil and probably have lawsuits going both directions.
Yeah. And in that case, could even be criminal, because use of force carries criminal. And one of the things that I've done some interesting research into here lately is the rise of First Amendment auditors, where that there's a lot of, training security officers to, maintain the restraint when someone is just filming, being verbally abusive. It can be very aggravating, but that doesn't rise to the level in most cases that where you can start taking force against somebody so it's really situational, but it comes down to the classic ideals of make sure you train your staff, you're investing in that, they're aware of those threats and how to handle themselves. Because unfortunately, and I wish I could wave a magic wand and make it go away, but unfortunately, you're going to be judged on those things.
Yeah, you're going to go to court, and the jury is going to make a decision on the rest of your life if you didn't just have the proper procedural training in place for your employees and your agents.
Yeah.
And another thing I hear too is a lot of companies don't even carry like the proper insurances to cover the liability.
Yeah, that is, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night without that. But, a lot of states, and not every state has regulations, by the way. That's another myth in our industry that all 50 states, and some don't, but the ones that do have done a pretty decent job in requiring some level of general liability insurance. Again, not every one, but so that's more of a requirement. But you're right, that then you start to dig in and find out. And at that point, the customer and the end user has a problem because they had someone there doing this, and now there's no recourse for them to collect from the company. So it can be bad all around.
And then you have a lot of companies out there that do that the states allow 1099 work, and like, well, is that 1099 agent working in Arizona, for example, or whatever state allows that? Are they covered by their own insurance? Then there's the risk there too.
It gets crazy. I did a case years ago where there was 4 levels of subcontractors to get to the person, and I'm going, whoa, and so I had to who was vetting each subcontractor, and it started with the prime contract. This may sound pretty dry and boring stuff, but it started with the prime contract saying that insurance is supposed to be at a certain level. By the time I got to the 4th subcontractor, he had like a 1/4 of what the prime contractor was required to carry. So the prime contractor's on the hook there, but the person that did the bad thing has a 1/4 of what your coverage is. So even if you can go after them, you're going to be able to get a 1/4. So it's dangerous business.
Very, we're in the risk business, and you got to carry those insurance policies just to cover your rear end.
Absolutely.
And you got to keep your business and your personal stuff separate.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of changing. We can put everything in an S corp in Texas, and then we have little industry secret. This may be helpful. My attorney advised me to get each individual state its own separate EIN number. Just for liability purposes. I'm like, never thought about that.
Yeah. There's and again, that's not my legal expertise, but I tell people all the time that start businesses, before you do anything, get a good attorney and a good accountant.
Yeah,
and my joke is, one will keep you out of the courtroom, one will keep you out of jail.
That's a fact.
You got to have both.
In California, you have a good HR person too, because it's sticky in California.
Don't get me started on California. We do a lot of work out there, and I used to have hair right here, Mark, before I went.
Did you really?
Yeah, before I went to California. So.
Your modeling days are over now. No more.
Exactly.
No
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
super dude modeling.
No,
Wow.
no. That was only in my dreams to begin with. So.
What's your advice to the boutique security companies that are trying? I know it's been kind of slow because of administration policies and stuff, and we got tariffs thing going on. We got the war overseas right now, and I know a lot of boutique security firms, especially exec protection firms. Everybody's kind of struggling, trying to keep the lights on. Do you have any good advice, any forecasts of what you're hearing and seeing coming around the corner that is hope and a little light of hope of what's going to be positive?
Yeah, and I think I'll go back to, one of the central themes that we talked about before is at the end of the day, those type of security firms, they aren't the large conglomerates. They aren't the billion-dollar companies with hundreds of thousands of employees. And I always make this caveat because I want to be clear. It doesn't mean those companies are bad. It doesn't mean they wake up every day and just say, hey, let's give horrible service. I know a lot of those people, and they're good, honest men and women doing the best they can. But when it comes to those smaller boutique firms, the advice that I would give them is at the end of the day, a good service and a good product is going to shine through. And sometimes we ruminate on, how do I, like you said before, how do I get that best marketing tagline? How do I, join this luncheon and get contacts? All those things are important.
Sure.
But that service is going to shine through. And so the door that may be closed now, in the future, it may open back up just because, like you said before, somebody's going to reach out and go, hey, that they could offer, quote unquote, a lot more than you could, but you know what? That's not a substitute for service. And like I mentioned before, the industry doing all those things that I listed off as a laundry list, EP, consulting, technology, guess what? If you can't execute on any of that, you're just digging the hole deeper. You're making the problem worse. So what I see, the small, mid-sized firms, they have the ability to execute a lot quicker and a lot better. So don't give up. Just find ways to really highlight that. And people are hungry for that.
They are. Yeah, what we're hearing from some people that reached out to us in the last 6 months is, hey, we want to feel special when we call you.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone, respond to a text. Oh, okay. That easy, and then people working for you, in the field, you have an EA, bump into your team. Hey, I like the way you guys work. I always tell my team how we're going to grow the fastest is when we have a team out there covering a principle and another team's going to be out there seeing how we do things and how we treat our profession, how professional we are on the job. And that's going to be our best word of mouth referral system. That's how you're going to grow exponentially.
Yeah, and I've even seen situations over the years where, we get a foot in the door because they have invoicing problems. That they can't get a clean invoice. I mean, you don't think about that. You just think, well, that's an afterthought. But just simple things like that, not having to, and to your point, not having to go through 14 different telephone menus and phone calls and emails, being able to pick up the phone and say, hey, can you fix my invoice right away? What's wrong with it? Let's fix it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being responsive.
Responsive. That's the key word, responsive. Yeah, like when Brian Jang reached out to us, he was at the First Public Bank, and he goes, hey, I just need a responsive organization to respond to my need and to jump on it. I'm like, okay. And we had agents deployed on the ground for his organization in multiple states within 8 hours. He goes, hey, nobody else would respond. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll respond. It was that easy. But I know we got GSX coming up in Atlanta. That's the big project you guys are working on now. How's that looking? Is that taking shape?
It is looking awesome. I was actually there this week with the ASIS team and some representatives from the local Atlanta chapter. And I can tell you that I was beyond impressed. On a personal note, my father's from Atlanta. I've been there, going back and forth to Atlanta since I was born. And I can tell you that what has happened in downtown Atlanta, they've got the World Cup coming up,
that's right,
all kind of things that are going on. It is first class. The hotel, the host hotel, the Insignia by Hilton is phenomenal, a great venue. We were able to look at the aquarium for the Tuesday night closing celebration.
Oh, nice.
And that in itself is going to just be phenomenal. I don't want to give too much away because the team is working on it, but just walking through and seeing the event space that we're going to be fortunate to have, it's going to be just awe-inspiring to see, that space. So things are going great. The content, the education that's being put together, the keynotes. I'm looking forward to just a great GSX and a great place. And again, we have a staff that is executed like no other. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal GSX. So if you're not planning to come, you may want to rethink that. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah, we went to the New Orleans one. That was off the charts. I mean, I felt like I was in Vegas, but we're in New Orleans. There's so many parties going on. And we threw a private party for some of our clients too. And it's just like, you have to understand, everybody is trying to see their clients. Everybody's got dinners. So if you get an hour of someone's time or 2 hours of someone's time and they take off to go somewhere, you can't take it personal. It's just like being in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
But it's for the security conference. And it's global security exchange conference. So what is it, 30,000, 40,000 people coming in from all over the globe?
Yeah, I mean, it's, we have a lot of people that come in person, that there's people that attend in some form or fashion online. You have, a lot of people that come in that aren't ASIS members. They're part of the public-private partnership. They're, just a lot going on. And to your point, it's such a diverse experience. We talked about the different subject area communities. That's the time to make those connections. And, back before I was in volunteer leadership with ASIS, the reason I wouldn't miss it was for two reasons: to catch up with people that I already knew, but to make new connections that are going to benefit me down the road and see what's happening. And we just talked about technology, and I can Google things all day long, but being on that show floor and saying, hey, how would this work if this happens? And having that. So the show floor is going to be phenomenal. The keynotes, again, our board's excited, and we can't wait to welcome everyone to Atlanta.
Nice. Yeah, our team will be there, and everybody's asking me, we're going to do a little private party again, and we'll have to see how the year goes. And I know you guys have everything pre-booked in that 5-day window of a lot of great curriculum, educational type stuff, and there's going to be so many parties going there, you can't keep them all straight. That's a good thing. It's just brings camaraderie and fellowship together and getting to know each other, catching up. And then you have that's this fall, right?
It is. Yeah, it's in September. And that's a great way to put it. I always say it's like a family reunion every year. You see the people you haven't seen. You may talk to them like this, on a screen, but just having a chance to shake their hand and talk about things and share thoughts and ideas, there's no replacement for that.
And the Signia Hotel is the host hotel.
It is. Yeah, it's a new hotel there in Atlanta. It's right by the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's connected to the convention center. It's a great space.
I might have to catch a football game. Well, that's an idea.
Yeah. It'll be about the same time. So
yeah, there you go. There'll be all kinds of fun stuff to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we may be renting out an Airbnb and doing like a little private party for the clients that we have coming in. So we're in talks about that and how we're going to play that game out. Yeah. But how can people find you, Eddie? Just LinkedIn, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. Eddie Sorrells, CEO of DSI Security, and you'll find me there. And I have that's one of the great ways that I communicate through messaging and connections. So you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm sure I'll pop up somewhere soon. Coming to a city near you. So
you're on the road quite a bit, being the president. You have to hit all the chapters in the U.S. Is that kind of your responsibility?
No, not all the chapters, but the regional events, and as schedules allow. And again, we have a lot of great volunteers that are out there doing this work day in and day out, not just me, but when I can, it's always great to visit a local chapter. It's always great to, join a community meeting. So there's a lot going on, but the regional events and like I said, this goes by pretty quick. So I want to make sure that I leave this position better than I found it.
There you go. I love that leadership mentality. Yeah. Servant leadership is all it's about, serving your community and your people that help you out and help each other out, lift each other up.
Yep.
Great work. And if you want to follow the podcast, we're on all the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and this will be on a YouTube channel. Oh, that's my team calling me. I will have to tell him I'm calling him back. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, that's my operations guy. Hey, I need you. I'm like on a podcast. Sorry, but yeah, follow us up on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel under at Mark Ledlow, and we'll post this and we'll give the file to Eddie, and he can post this on his profile as well. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, direct message Eddie or myself. And thanks for supporting the podcast. We're about ready to hit 11,000 followers on LinkedIn. And this started 5 years ago on LinkedIn. I had like 1,500 connections. So
wow,
use LinkedIn for its the tool that it is, just to reach out. Don't be weird. Don't be salesy. Say, hey, I'd like to set up a call. Get to know you. Don't be salesy. Don't try not to be transactional. Making friends. It's just the bad look.
Absolutely.
And that's my advice for everybody trying to launch podcasts and stuff. Just trying to create relationships, build those relationships, and keep it pure. Anyway, with that said, thanks for supporting the show, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Peerless Mindset Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks so much, Mark.
You're welcome, Eddie. Thanks for coming in and joining us.
Sure.